we started opening up our branch of Ying Jow Pai. And then Tomas and I would sit every night and talk about how can we make it better? How can we bring it to this era with the mixed martial arts and, you know, cut this classical mumbo jumbo.
What's good, guys? Sifu Quasi with another episode of our 5 Crucial Questions for Kung Fu Masters. Because, hey, look, I know it's been a minute, guys, but this is an episode with a bit of a different take where we look at some valuable Ying Jow Pai history, specifically with our branch from Puerto Rico. With Sifu Julio Perez and Sifu Thomas Torres. Yep, my Kung Fu uncle, aka my Seabach, is back again to cause some commotion, possibly. And for all that love my mother style of Shums Northern Eagle Claw, this one's for you. Don't forget to stay to the end of the video so we can get their answers to the 5 crucial questions, of course. And do drop a like, hit a share, and comment accordingly so we can continue to make more videos you enjoy and keep growing.
Oh, yeah. Go get him, boy.
And of course, follow us on all of my social links. You get a link, you get a link, you get a link for even more content. And let's go. Today, I usually say special episode, but this is beyond special because and actually, they've been working on this for a little bit. I have my brothers in arms with me here from Ying Jow Pai, representing both on the East Coast, Puerto Rico, Master Julio Perez, Master Thomas Torres here. And to give everybody just kind of a quick background, not only are these guys instructors and practitioners in Ying Jow Pai, but they the reason why I wanted to do this episode was to talk about them starting the branch that is out in Puerto Rico, which now there are 3 different schools, but I wanted to talk mainly about how everything got started with Puerto Rico. So from them coming from the New York branch out with Master Shum and then branching off themselves to create this own brand. So let me introduce you guys properly. So Sifu Julio, what's up? Sifu Thomas, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Quasi?
Oh man, it's been a while. So I should say too that, you know, like for those that don't know, that are going to watch this video for the first time, and even those Ying Jow Pai people, Sifu Julio and I opened a school back in Brooklyn years ago. Brooklyn, we go hard. So even after he came back from Puerto Rico, we kept Ying Jow Pai going alive, and he's still teaching, of course, on the side and everything. And of course, Sifu Julio was a man that helped me a lot with all my my training and all that stuff as I was going towards instructorship and mastership in Ying Jow. And then, of course, Sifu Thomas Torres has been helping me out behind the scenes with the channel when I first started, throwing in his 2 cents, 12 cents here, every kind of cent since then. Telling me that, hey, man, FFA's this shit, come on, Ying Jow Pai's got to step up. So what's up, bro?
I'm actually called the old man here in Puerto Rico. I'm the old man of Ying Jow Pai village. So yeah, I've been doing this for a while.
How's everything going with you guys?
Everything's good.
Everything is good.
Well, it's good to see you guys. I'm gonna start off real basic and just kind of get for those that don't know you guys' history, your martial arts history, how you both got started in martial arts. So whoever wants to go first.
I remember as a little boy, my sister Gladys took me to see the movie 5 Fingers of Death. That was in the 70s, and the rest is history. You know, I knew right there and then that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. You know,
nice.
And that's how I started.
Okay, sweet. And then how did you transition? I know you were at Allen Lee School for a little bit, but then how did you make your switch over to Ying Jow? What was that like? Okay, this is what I'm gonna do.
Okay, I was in Chinatown one time, and I remember that store in Chinatown. What's it called? Buckley Top.
Oh, Buckley Po, the weapon store.
No,
yeah,
Buckley Tie.
Oh, Buckley Tie. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the original, I think, but it doesn't matter. But
okay, I got you though. Yeah.
I saw Sifu's book, and I said, "Wow." You know, I was turning the pages. I said, "I got to find this guy," and he was in New York.
Got it.
The rest of the history, that was back in the 80s. I went to the Mecca, the first, well, they say that, what school was it, Julio? 34th Street? The school.
The one on the second floor?
Yeah, 34, right?
Yeah, 34th Street, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the temple.
Right.
I got to go back in the early 80s. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's when the school was super booming. We see all those old school videos and stuff, that 34th Street location, right?
Fortunately,
Yes.
I used to go in the mornings. No one was there in the morning. So I got private classes for free, basically, because, I was there alone. So he taught me, and also Benson Lee was teaching me there also at the
Okay.
he was filling in for Sifu at times. So I was blessed. At Sifu, Benson.
Oh, nice. Okay, so early 80s, you finally transitioned over Ying Jow Pai. That's when you got in there. Okay, and then what about you, Sifu Julio? How did you start?
For me, I started my thing with my mother. My mother used to take my brother and I to 42nd Street to watch, and that's the first movie we saw too. Coincidentally, the Five Fingers of Death.
Five Fingers, okay.
Yeah, that was the first movie we saw. We fell in love with it. And after that, I've done karate. I've done doju karate, taekwondo for a while until I found Sifu Shum School, which was on 34th Street. I went there. It was empty. I took the number down. I called them, and they were on 14th Street. So I joined in on 14th Street back in 1988.
Okay.
And ever since then, I've been with him, and I stuck with him because I believed in what he had to teach me, and he took me aside and taught me how to fight and taught me how to really apply the stuff. And so I stuck with it. And then I went and branched off, and he told me he wanted me to branch out and open up schools. He wanted me to teach. So I taught here and there in New York City. But then me and Tomas got together. We taught in Brooklyn for a little while. In my backyard, we took some of the neighborhood kids and we taught them. Mm-hmm. And then he moved to Puerto Rico, and he kept pushing me. Come on, man, you got to come down. You got to come down. Yeah. So finally, 1999, I took my family, left my job, made my wife quit her job, and we went off to Puerto Rico.
One ticket to please.
I'm going to back up a little bit, guys, and you talk to me about, because both you guys started in the 80s. So the lay of the land back then in the 80s is because we always see the old videos. It's like the school was popping, basically. Master Shum, so it's like, was it true back then? Master Shum was like, you had to almost get like, you were on a wait list back then. Was that true?
When I joined, there was no waiting list. Mm-hmm. It was the classes were packed.
Okay.
And on 14th Street, you had 2 rooms. And I mean, those rooms were huge. They were humongous. And you had classes. You had the waiting, not so much a waiting list, but you had to get it to a certain level in order to transfer into the advanced class.
Okay.
Yeah, the advanced class was closed off. You couldn't go in there if you weren't an advanced student. It was on the other side of the room. It was the other. It was closed off. You couldn't get in there. You couldn't look in there. You couldn't peek in there.
The secret room.
Exactly. You were training hard because you wanted to get into that room.
Right.
I don't know how it was in the morning, because I know Tomas trained in the morning time, but in the evenings, I always went in the evenings. That's how it was.
Okay. So what about you, Tomas? Same thing?
At 34, he's talking about 14th Street.
He's talking about 14, but you can talk about both.
I'm talking about just 34th. It was only the morning time. I was basically alone with maybe a couple of other students, and I took advantage of that because we were alone. And Sifu for private classes, but since technically it was a group class, but nobody was there.
Right.
So people and I basically all the time. And I think that's how I really learned the stuff really well. It was either Sifu, some or Benson Lee. So I was really fortunate. So you know how most of us consider Sifu Benson Lee as someone who's an elite, he's an excellent example of Ying Jow Pai. So I was blessed to have both of them.
Yeah, top tier training. I get it. And then, so speaking of Sifu Benson, back then they were doing a lot of tournaments. Like, he was on the run back then. Him, Cynthia Rothrock, all that. Were you guys involved in that? Did you want to do tournaments at that point? Or were you just like, nah, I'm just about the training? Or what was the mentality back then?
Mike is just about the training, about the fighting. I never told you why I wanted to go to Ying Jow Pai.
Okay.
And I found out that Sifu Julio had the same reason. When I saw the pages, it had to do with grappling. So I was drawn to the grappling, to the chin na.
The chin na.
That was the reason why I was there. I didn't want to kick, I didn't want to punch. I already had that at Alan Lee's.
Right.
I wanted grappling, And Julio told me, years after that. That was what drew him. Am I correct, Julio? The grappling drew you?
You're absolutely right, and I have to admit it. My senior training brother Joel Rodriguez, may he rest in peace. He was my first instructor, and he was the one that introduced me into all that when I first joined. Because when I first joined, there was a student, I don't want to name his name, but who used to kick my butt every day. He heard I was supposedly a fighter, so I came in with my boxing skills and my taekwondo skills, my goju skills, and I used to beat all the other guys up pretty easily. But when it came to him, he waxed the floor with me several times. So Joel Rodriguez said, you know what? I'm going to teach you how to use Ying Jow. So he pulled me aside. He said, you're not going to fight with him for now. Wait a couple of months. So Joel trained me for like 3 months. Trained me on the grappling, the how to touch, how to feel, the sensitivity. And yes, when I fought him after 3 months, I didn't beat him, but he didn't beat me. And that's what drew me more to the grappling. I said, you know what? I got to learn more of this China.
Right.
I got to learn more of
the
it.
grappling. And
so Thomas is right. That's what drew me more to it. I was like, you know what? No, this is where it's at. This is what we got to do. This is what's going to make the difference between the regular street fight and you fight. So, yeah.
I have a similar story.
Okay, go for it. Yeah.
I was at the 34th Street School. That day, I had already passed the morning class. I stood there for a while, and another group of people showed up. And I love fighting, so I asked the senior student, "May I fight with you?" You know, the typical courtesy. You know, may I fight? And at that time, all our brothers were not shy. They wanted to fight. So I'm a beginner. I was there a few months, and this guy was advanced. He was a green sash, a couple of stripes. And just like what happened to Julio, this guy swept the floor with me. It was bad. It was really bad. But since I'm Puerto Rican, it was like, all right, it's nothing, you know.
You haven't been with a Puerto Rican.
Oh, fake.
Lo and behold, 2 people were watching that fight. Okay. And I was coming back, you know, licking my wounds. One of them drew close to me and said, "Hey, would you like to beat that person in 2 weeks?" I said, "Sure." Of course.
It's like a commercial. Guaranteed 2 weeks you're going to win.
They want them to guarantee.
Anyway, that person was Sifu Angel Rodriguez.
Oh, yes.
Pachu was there, and Sifu Angel Rodriguez. They're best friends.
Right.
So he said, "Look, this is what we're going to do. You're going to come every morning, and we're going to train." Right? Man, it was like a kung fu movie. He would just say, you know, "Put your hands up." He would destroy me.
My kung fu is better than yours.
Come home with what seemed like hickeys for his claws. I was all torn apart. I'm not sure if Julio remembers those days. He would come back with claw marks all over the neck.
Oh yeah.
So after a while, you know, it looked like hickeys. You know, not a good look. Yeah. So basically, I couldn't do anything to him. And once I gave up, he would show me what he was doing to me.
Okay.
And after 1 or 2 tries, I got it. The lesson was over. Then he would move on to the next lesson, so on and so forth. And about 2 or 3 weeks passed, and there's that person who jacked me up, who beat me up. He walks in. I go, and we fight.
Okay.
Of course. Bro, exactly what Angel Rodriguez said. I destroyed this guy.
You beat him? Wow.
Right. And it was, you know, he decided to go home that day. After I beat him, he just left. He went back home.
Wow.
That bad. But what's my point here? That I'm really good? No, I'm not good at all. When you learn the principles, that's the secret. The principle, which is the grappling and so on and so on.
Of course.
And it's amazing. It makes you superhuman.
Yeah. But it still feels good when you whoop that ass, right?
Hell yeah.
I'm just gonna kick your ass.
I have to say, several years down the road, I dislocated that guy's shoulder.
Oh, see?
That felt so good.
Yeah, the redemption, baby, the redemption.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Speaking of, you know what? Julio doesn't know this. He dislocated his elbow.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Yeah.
What happened?
what happened. Look, I got to go way back. When
Okay.
Julio were in Brooklyn, we would fight. We were kind of comparable, kind of the same, right? But when he came to Puerto Rico with Lisa on vacation, like always, that's fight, you know. So we had our I guess we had dinner or whatever, and we on top of my mother's house. Something was different about Julio. There was no pity pack. It was no, slap boxing. He would grab me so well. I mean, he would grab my wrist, and then he would lock my arm in such a way that I said, "¿Qué es esto? What is it?"
Right.
Bro, it was powerful. He mastered the standing arm bar.
Yes, that's his specialty. I remember I got locked in that a couple times. I remember that damn arm bar.
That blew my mind. So he left back to New York, and I said, "Pero qué hizo este tipo? What did this guy do to me?" So I had to go back to the drawing board. His grappling was so improved. It was amazing, and I felt you feel the difference.
You know what what was the difference? What happened was Sifu Shum and I have to say Frank Marrero.
Yeah, Sifu Frank.
Frank Marrero and I used to train with Sifu Shum. We used to get there class started at 7. We used to get there at 3.
Okay.
And Sifu used to take us and show us little techniques, little details.
Got you.
That's where it all lands. It's all in the detail. And he just showed us, no, twist his arm like this. Don't do this. Do that.
Right.
And we did that every day for like about 2 years.
Yeah. So
and that's what changed.
Yeah, you fine-tuned the stuff. So now it's like you got more precise, and through the repetitions, it just became second nature, right?
You remember, Quasi, when I tell you sometimes, Quasi, turn the arm this way. It'll work like this. Turn it this way. That's what made my grappling, my stand-up fighting so much better.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what changed. When I went to Tomas in 98 and we sparred, by that time, I said, you know what? Because Sifu always wanted me to test. He said, I'll take the. I said, Sifu, I don't want to test right now. I want to perfect what I have, especially my fighting. So when I went in 98, at that time, that's when I was starting to feel that I was ready to test.
Gotcha.
And that's what made the difference. That's why when we sparred, Tomas, that's when my claw was on point. My techniques were basically, I can't say perfect because they still need to be, still need working on. But yes, at that point, I was at my top, if you want to say it like that.
Yeah, nice.
This is what I tell my students. There are no secrets, but if you really have to use that word, secret, the secret are the details.
The details, yes.
Right. Without those details, without those principles, you have no ego claw. This is the problem with most schools, mine included at the beginning. If you don't teach grappling from the get-go, you're wasting your time because I have I would say a cage fighter. Okay, you know Armando.
Yes.
It took him years to learn that. Let's call it the standing arm lock. Let's call it Julio's lock.
Okay.
It took years to really understand it. Even my student, my protege, to really understand that lock took years. So I would show them. I have felt no pain. Year after year, I felt no pain. I felt no pain at all. But when they finally got it,
right,
boy, it hurts. But this is the thing. If it takes years to master that simple lock, for example, let's call it Julio's lock, why start 5 years down the line?
Yeah, exactly. That's
my opinion. I've changed things around from day one. Kids grappling, day one.
Right. You used to always say that from day one, they should be introduced to the fighting. So we're going to get more into this. So let's get into the Puerto Rico side. So 98 was the year you decided, Sifu Julio, you were like, because I know by then you had already done your, become a master? You'd done your instructor and master at that point?
I took my master test in 98, yes.
Okay. And then right after you were like, all right, let's do this Puerto Rico. Whose idea was it to?
Well, Lisa and I went down to Puerto Rico for a wedding.
Okay.
One of her best friend's wedding. And at the time I called Tomas, I said, I'm going to be in Puerto Rico for a wedding. I'm going to stay in San Juan for a couple of days, then I'll go stay with you. So Tomas brought me down to his town, Florida, and we stayed there for a while and we started talking. And me and Lisa fell in love with Puerto Rico. And we said, you know what, maybe we should move down here. Tomas offered me They said, you know what? I'll set up a school so that way me and you could run the school and we could open up and branch and open up a branch of Ying Jow Pai down here. Well, he already had this branch because he already started teaching it down there.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? This sounds like a good idea. I was ready. I love my city, New York. I'll never leave it again. Sorry. But at that point, I was ready to go. It was like a winter and it was kind of hard out here. I said, you know what? Let me try something new. So me and Lisa moved down there. I went down there in 99. I went down there by myself for like a month, but I missed my wife and my kids so much. I said, you know what? I got to bring them down. Tomas helped me bring them over.
Nice.
Set me up with a school and everything. And we started teaching. And we started opening up our branch of Ying Jow Pai. And then Tomas and I would sit every night and talk about how can we make it better? How can we bring it to this era with the mixed martial arts and, you know, cut this classical mumbo jumbo, because I'm sorry, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but it's realistic. This classic mumbo jumbo does not work in the street fight. I'm sorry.
The fancy mess of martial arts, it is nothing but blind devotion to the systematic uselessness of routines that lead nowhere.
So Tomas and I sat down and said, let's make it work. Let's make Ying Jow Pai work for what's going on now and for the streets, for the ring, for whatever it may be. Let's make it work. So yeah.
Let me ask you real quick. I'm gonna let Sifu Thomas jump in on this. But when you guys got down there, what was the layout in Puerto Rico as far as like other martial arts schools? Did you have more karate schools? Was it mixture? Was it kung fu? What was going on down there?
Well, karate was big down there.
Okay.
And then you had a lot of fake martial arts. Tomas could attest to that. There was so much fake martial arts down there. Good people though. They meant well.
Right.
But they didn't have the traditional background.
Okay.
They would say, yeah, I learned from this guy, I learned from that. They didn't really learn. They took seminars here and there.
Okay.
And they created their own little thing, which, look, they're survivors.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. Right.
Yeah, I agree. When I got here to Puerto Rico, my mom had retired here, so I would travel back and forth to see my mom, and I got to meet a lot of Chinese kung fu guys, and basically it was eclectic. It was like, you know, Julio says fake. All right.
Let's call it what it is, Tomas. Yeah. Come on. You know me, I'm real.
Right.
But Julio alluded to it, in all fairness, some of them could fight, but they didn't have classical training that we got. That we got from Sifu. So yeah, it was eclectic, you know. Right. But this is what's fascinating. When Julio and I showed up to the scene, we showed them the difference, and they realized, wow, this is really different, and they joined the brand.
Yeah.
But that really happened when Julio got here. Julio was the magic, in my opinion.
Okay, because I was gonna ask, how did you guys start recruiting people? Like, when you got there, you just walked around, just word of mouth, flyers?
What happened was there was a tournament in Guayama, which is my student now, Erick Cintron.
Yes, okay.
He had a major tournament that he threw every year. So Tomas took me down there, and I said, you know what? Let me demo. So I did the fan form. That's the first thing I did, was the fan form.
Okay.
Our fan. And next thing you know, everybody kept coming to me and Tomas. Especially first one was Hector Santiago from Calle, and then came Eric from Guayama. We took them in. We said, you know what? Come to our school in Florida. Let us show you what we're really about. And they were impressed.
Nice.
You know, Hector saw what we had to offer, and mainly what we like to show people is our fighting. It's not so much the forms. Yeah, we have, you know, Quasi, we have 70-something forms.
Yeah, 1 million forms.
yeah. You can pick whatever you want to pick. They basically show you the same thing, but in a different way.
Right.
But the fighting is where it's at.
Yes.
Eagle Claw is about the fighting, the grappling, the touching, the locking,
Yeah.
And they saw that. They said, wow, wait a minute. This is not like nothing I've ever seen before. Especially down there. And Hector was the first one to sign up. Then Eric came. Eric was a little skeptical because he didn't know, because Eric studied with Leung Fu.
Right, that's right. Because it was Fu Liang was and he was part of the Lao branch in the beginning, right?
Exactly. Then he branched off by himself. I don't know the whole history behind him.
Thomas Torres was in the island, and Julio Perez came to develop Ying Jow Pai in Puerto Rico. By that time, I was under Leung Fu wing.
But I knew a lot of the stuff that Eric was showing me. I said, wait a minute, that's not Eagle Claw. And I showed Eric. I said, me and Tomas showed him. And Eric said, wait a minute, this is different, but this is effective. Yes, this is how it's supposed to be done.
Okay.
So Eric finally joined us. It took him a while.
Right.
Eric's a thinker, and
of course, yeah.
You know, he's our son. It's our Kung Fu son. I love him, and he's still with us to this day.
Okay, let me give you my nuance.
Yeah, go ahead.
He studied under the late, I remember he died recently.
Yes. Who actually did meet finally. We talked offline. I met at the ICMAC tournament in 2017, so I finally got to meet him. Nice guy, but yes.
Yeah, so grateful that I met him at Nick's tournament. Wonderful guy, a wonderful soul. You know, we had breakfast with him, if you recall. Yeah, well, he was Sifu. He was Master Leung Fu was Eric's student. I mean, Eric's teacher, and Eric was loyal. Eric didn't want to, make that move without telling him the right. So he wrote him a letter and said, "Listen, I'm going to stay within the family, but there's some family, and I'm letting you know."
So what I did is that I make a decision for my future and my students, and I talked to Leung Fu, and I send them a formal letter because you cannot serve God and the devil, Yeah. And I'm very clear in that.
So he did not make that move until he spoke to his Sifu.
Right.
And his Sifu was gracious and says, "I get it. Sifu Sam is my senior," and the rest is history.
Then from there, once Eric came over, you had two branches. You had Florita and Guayama, yes? Were those two?
Yeah.
We had Guayama. We had 3 branches.
So there's 3 total. So you went from 2 to 3. What, Master Shum, did he come down to visit you guys, or what was his feedback for you guys?
I forgot what year he came down. I was living there still when he came down the first time. And we took him around. He was so impressed because we did a tournament that year that he came for him to be there.
Nice.
And Eric set up a big tournament, and I think I don't remember, Tomas. Was it in San Juan? I'm not sure.
I think so.
Yeah, and he did a big tournament that it was a great turnout. Joel Rodriguez came down. Your Sifu from California, Ken Edwards, came down.
Right. Yes.
It was a big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
Was that the big one, like 2002?
Yes.
I remember that. Yeah, that was the first one. That's the first time I ever went to Puerto Rico. I remember that. That was huge.
Yes.
I remember it started early in the morning and we were still going. It was like 11 at night. It was so many people, so many. Oh yeah, I remember that one. I remember that one. That was huge.
So that was the first time Sifu Grandmaster Shum came down to Puerto Rico.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So.
Yeah, and he was so impressed with what we have done down there, because his dream, Sifu Shum's dream, was to spread Ying Jow across the world if he could.
I go to visit some of the school, all the instructor school of Ying Jow Pai. I should go there. But if they want me to go, the best.
And we took it to Puerto Rico, and we did what no one else had done. There were so many practitioners there of Ying Jow Pai.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
That was a huge tournament. I do remember that. So let me ask you this thing, guys. At that point was because I want to add in, how did Olaguibet get involved? Sifu Thomas.
Sifu Olaguibet joined us. Julio had already gone back to New York.
Okay.
And we left Erick Cintron in charge of the branch because Julio went back to New York, and I said, you know what, my brother's gone, I'm also gone, I'm going to retire. So I would just supervise, from a distance, but basically Erick Cintron was in charge of all the operations for us. And Sifu Olaguibet was under another Eagle Claw master, and his Eagle Claw master had to leave, so he was alone. He had no one to teach him. So he approached Douglas Marti, who's our Dicey here in Puerto Rico. And he said, talk to Sifu Tomas. I need him to teach me Eagle Claw. So, Douglas called me via the phone. I said, nope, I'm retired. I'm not interested. let him go to Erick. Erick can teach him. He insisted, no, I want you to teach me. I want you to teach me. I said, I'm retired. Make a long story. Come by the house. So he came by the house. He told me what he needed. He told me what happened with him. That basically he was an orphan, basically. And I still was adamant. I didn't want to teach anymore. And I knew that Olaguibet was talented because I know his background.
Right.
But I wasn't interested. But then, he insisted that I said, you know what? Show me your claw. Julio, I'm not sure if I told you. Oh my God, his claw was so bad.
I remember.
Horrible. I said, how could he have learned Eagle Claw? I mean, this is this is not to say that his instructor was bad, because his instructor was very good. I know his teacher.
Yes.
But for some reason, he didn't assimilate the teachings of Eagle Claw. His claw was really weak. I can tell he couldn't do Eagle Claw fighting. So I said, all right, I'm going to teach you. Okay. It was out of compassion. And the rest is history.
Got you. Okay. And then from there,
God sent, because it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, because at that point you guys are fully flourished, and it's like you got these 3 branches going on. But Sifu Julio, you had already come back up to New York at that point, yeah?
Yeah, but before I left New York, we had more than 3 branches.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, before I left to New York, we had about, I want to say, 5 branches of Ying Jow Pai in Puerto Rico. Yeah, because remember, we had Hector Santiago, we had Erick Cintron, and then Erick had a student that was named Xavier Ayala, Luis Xavier Ayala, who also had a branch.
Erick was already throwing these big tournaments, and then was that a main thing to just get more Ying Jow Pai out there? You wanted to attend all these other tournaments, like, the Extrema ones and all that, or what was the thinking back then? You guys, whoever wants to answer.
Well, when Julio had already, he was in New York already. And for some reason, Olaguibet had that history with his old teacher. They love tournaments. So I was not a tournament guy. So I had Douglas Marti run that part of the system, the tournaments. So they kept going down to the Nick, and they kept winning.
Yeah, no, I'm like Tomas. I wasn't a big tournament person. I kind of disagree with it for a while. But I knew it was an outlet. It was a way to get it out there.
Right. And
Sifu always said, don't go to too many tournaments, but go to 1 or 2 big major tournaments and perform and show what Eagle Claw was to people, what Eagle Claw is to people. Right. And so, I even competed in a few at my master level. I competed against some other masters, and I won. I won several of them. Not that I'm not gonna say I won them all, but I won several. There was no fighting because these guys, these older guys didn't want to fight a bunch of wussies. You know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's amazing. You be out there doing a million forms, and it's time to fight. It's like, oh, my knee, my ankle.
You know what the hell are we doing this for?
Mate! 年だからな。
Let's get down to the real nitty gritty. But anyway,
you remember they had that yearly Tai Chi stuff in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, the Tai Chi Day bullshit.
And then he did applications. They were mad at him. They were angry at him.
They banned me because I told them what you're doing is bullshit.
I'm sure that went over well.
No, I told them I was straight up with them. Martial arts was meant for fighting. That's how it became. That's how it was created. Was for fighting. Yeah, health is a part of it, but the main part is fighting.
Right.
And they didn't invite me back.
You don't say.
Well, that's why it's called martial arts, right? It's not called ballet, right?
Thank you.
And especially our system in general created it. So when I tell people the history, we were first created like from a military man. So our thinking's always been that first.
Fighting.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Like, as far as once you guys, like the branches got established and everything, what made like people really just kind of, come to you guys more on the island than like other styles? Because by then, like more jiu-jitsu schools, I'm thinking are coming up around and stuff. Like, what kept you guys competitive? Is I guess what I'm trying to ask.
Let me speak on this. I'm sure Tomas will back me up on this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was I went around the island with my godson Xavier and challenged a lot of these people. And I wanted to see what they were about.
Okay.
And even a few people came to our school in Florida and wanted to fight us. And we fought them. And we showed them what Eagle Claw was about. A lot of them didn't want to admit it when they lost, because they all lost, not one won.
Right.
They all lost. And they didn't want to admit it that this is what Kung Fu is about.
Nice.
It's not about all this flashy, mumbo jumbo, classical bullshit. It was about the fighting.
Yeah.
You know? And
why don't you say what you really feel, right?
No, I love it. Dude, listen, there's no reason to hold back.
Tomas, you know me, man.
We got to keep it real, man.
And I'm blunt. And
right.
I fear no one, and I fear nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. No, there were some good guys that stood up a little bit to us, but when it came down to the point when they touched hands with us and we clawed them and locked them and took them down, there was no comparison.
No competition.
But we didn't want them to come to us. We wanted them to better their own style.
Got you.
You know, and a lot of them became our friends.
Yes.
Not a lot of them, but a few of them became our friends.
Yeah, I can see that.
We helped them.
Quasi
better than still.
Yeah, a lot
of respect level. Yeah, people respect it. It's like, okay, you guys are about your stuff. Yeah, go ahead, Sifu Thomas.
For some reason, all these Sifus actually joined, and it had to do with the fighting. Again, Eagle Claw does that. It's Eagle Claw.
Right. Well, Sifu Thomas, let me ask you, because I know, especially when you would bring your groups up to New York and everything, and yes, there is grappling in our system. There is Chin Na, of course, but you really have a big thrust down there, especially when you would come up with your students on that angle where you would do a lot of groundwork and grappling. Was like, how did that get started down there? Were you the one that spearheaded that, or was that just a mixture of?
What happened was, I still remember like today. I was at Danny's gym working out. And the manager, right now I forgot his name, I just don't remember his name, said, you know what, I taught Chinese martial arts. He said, I want you to see this videotape. Back then it's VHS.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, it was the first Ultimate Fighting Championship. Okay? I'm watching this. I'm watching Hoist Gracie. And I said, this is fantastic. But you know what? After watching that videotape, of the Ultimate Grand, UFC 1, I wasn't inclined. I wasn't moved to go look for a jiu-jitsu school. I intuitively knew that what he was doing, we have it.
Got it.
Okay, so I said, wait a minute. No, I'm not gonna go to no jiu-jitsu school. We have all that. So I just really went deep into Chin Na and found everything in Ying Jow Pai. We had a tournament in California.
Okay, yeah.
And one of our schools, from one of our branches, I mean, they swept the floor with all our students.
Everybody.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're talking about the one when Greece came. You're talking about
when Greece went down.
We love our Greece branch, by the way.
Oh, we love them. But they went to California and they dominated.
Yeah, listen, I'm always honest about that. When they mopped everybody in that tournament, it was an eye-opener. In fact, that was my motivation for getting a whole lot better, training harder. So when 2011, fast forward to two years later, I was like, I wanted to come with the heat. So, and then I believe we did. We turned things around. But yeah,
that's when Puerto Rico came up that year.
There you go. Right.
No, but actually, Thomas, let me interject real quick.
Please, go ahead.
We had another gathering in 2010.
Yes. Well,
and I remember, that was at the Fight Club. You remember?
Let's get the math right. The first one, actually, you guys can claim it. The very first gathering, though, was Puerto Rico. That was like 07 or 08.
Right. When Joe Rodriguez was there, right?
Yes. And then the next one was New York. That was New York. Yeah.
That was a gathering, but it wasn't an official gathering.
Right. Puerto Rico was unofficial, but still, it was like.
But it was a gathering because we got together with a few schools.
Yes.
But wait, Thomas. But then the one in 2010, I think it was. Or 2009. I
think it was 2008. That was the New York one. That was the first official one, yes. And then 2009, the next year my Sifu did, that was in California. That's how it went. So New York was first, then it was California.
Okay, well, 2008. That's when my student Charlie
Yes.
I'm sorry, Tomas smacked up a lot of the Puerto Rican guys.
I do remember that. I do remember.
Okay. And that was a rude awakening because you weren't there. And that was before that you made that transition. That's before you started doing the grappling more. Because they came up and they were like, Eric brought some of his students, Olaguibet brought some of his students, and they weren't at that point yet.
Right.
But I was there because I said, you know what, Charlie, I'm going to teach you how to do this and this. That's when my student Charlie came in and dominated. I had a couple other students, they did okay, but they didn't do like Charlie did. But then, that's when Greece came up.
What part of Greece?
Oh, yeah. They came to California.
The California one. And they were like, I felt like, what the, you know? I was proud of them.
Right.
For what they did, because they used a lot of Ying Jow Pai, but the stand-up stuff, they didn't do any grappling. They did a lot of striking.
Yes.
And I was like, where's the grappling though? And then in 2010 or 2011 was it?
2011, yep.
That's when Puerto Rico came up. So, I'll let you take over from here.
Go ahead, yeah. Finish it up. Super
See, I was blessed because I had footage of what happened in California.
Yes.
I said, oh, this is easy. This is easy to counter. So I prepared my guys for leg chinna. Leg chinna. Not, not just hand chinna, not arm chinna.
Yeah.
Leg chinna. And I said, this is the formula. And if you guys remember, we clean house.
Exactly right.
Oh, we're never gonna forget that.
It wasn't just a cleaning of the house.
PR represented that year.
Right.
Because I remember when we were doing the fighting, man, it was like, yo, these guys are good. What are you gonna do, man? I was like, I got swept a couple times. I mean, I won a fight, but then I lost one other one. So I was like, hey, it is what it is. And I think their only student from Greece, to be fair, I think Stefanos. There's the only one that really could hang with them, and he's super talented. The guy is amazing.
Yeah, no, so it made really good.
It made sense.
But I gotta give props to Julio's school in Puerto Rico. Julio, escúchate esto. William fought Stefano, and William won that fight.
Oh, see, I didn't get to see that one because I was fighting.
Willie ganó esa pelea. He won that fight. They gave it to Stefano, but it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember that.
So championship should have been to Puerto Rico.
But you know what happened? A lot of us were stuck on that point fighting thing, that tournament fighting thing,
right?
The striking, stop, point, and that's what the problem was when we went to California.
Got it.
That was what the problem was.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah, they were good fighters when they came from Greece, but a lot of our fighters, not just the California brand, the New York brand. The Ohio, what was with this guy from Ohio?
Yeah, see, Don,
the Florida,
Iowa.
Yeah, they were all stuck on that same mentality, the point fighting thing.
Right.
Strike, stop it, no. And then came Greece, and they were continuously moving and showing all the stuff and taking you out.
Yep.
That's what it was.
That was the evolution. Yep.
Stuck on that old mentality.
But you know, God, in all fairness, I knew my brother, Greg was upset with us.
I'm kind of mad at you.
Listen, the reason why we fought this way is because we felt you guys were the best. We had to beat you guys. That's why this went down this way. You were the target because you were the best. And, he doesn't understand English too well, but his wife translated. And it was squashed.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Because we're family.
Yeah.
But you know what, Tomas? It had to happen. Because it opened up all of our eyes.
Yes.
To reality. You know what? The world is changing. Mixed martial arts came in and broke everybody's heart. Proved to everybody you know what you were doing is not going to work anymore.
Not going to work. It's not, at least not like that. Yep.
Then you got Krav Maga, which comes in and shows you no. In the streets, in reality, what you're doing is not happening. You got to do this.
Well, I'm going to say, as someone who's now doing Krav Maga as well,
I know
the one thing, but here's the reason, because I always tell people this, that my foundation stays the same. I'm loyal to Ying Jow. I'm always going to keep it. But we never addressed weapons, at least defensive weapon training. That's what I should say. In Kung Fu, we never did, at least not effectively. Never talked about if someone comes at you with a knife, someone comes at you with a gun, someone comes at you with a stick. And that's what Krav Maga effectively, to me, addresses. The rest
I don't know if you remember, Quasi, when we had the school in Dumbo, we had that fight club, that fight class at Fridays. I think it was Friday nights.
Yes.
But Sifu Tracy used to come in and help us teach the class.
Yep.
We addressed it briefly. Briefly, we addressed that weapons training or defensive weapons training. And you're right. We should have touched more on that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think, well, somebody comes at you and I'm going to take it away from. No, that doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. I'm going to tell you.
The way we're practicing, the way we're training our fighting is not the only way. And it's not the way that's going to really work out there in the streets, out there in a real fight. Because a lot of us fought real fights. I mean, look, I was raised here in New York. I fought every day. My mother sent me and my brother to Jamaica because of our fighting, because we were in so much trouble and fighting all the time. To try to straighten our asses out. It didn't work, but you know what? It was an eye-awakening for me. I like to fight. I've always liked to fight. Nowadays, I don't fight as much because I'm not trying to get myself hurt. Right. Work, I gotta live, and I'm not trying to look for fights. I avoid everything.
Right.
But if it does come to the point that I have to fight somebody, I'm gonna take you out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I'm gonna use everything I can. It's not just, the flashy mumbo jumbo. No, I'm gonna bite you. I'm gonna bite your ear. I'm gonna pull you up. I'm gonna poke you in your eye. I'm sorry. I'm gonna kick you in the groin. I'm gonna kick you in the butthole. I'm gonna do everything I can.
Yeah, you're gonna do what's gonna work. And to speak on it also, it's a different time also. So it's like you don't want to necessarily run up and get in the fight because people got phones everywhere pulling out. And
exactly.
You're going to jail for assault for no reason. Like someone just gives you a push.
You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
I'm not doing that. But offense wise, if someone comes at me, then all bets are off. I'm with you on that.
Escucha, Julio, tú eres un sucio.
Yes, I am. In other words, quasi translation.
You're dirty fighter.
Dirty.
Yeah, you're a dirty fighter. I got it. Some Spanish I get pretty well, dude. Years of dating Spanish women, I got some benefits.
When Sifu came to Puerto Rico to correct my dirty fighting, right?
Yes.
I showed him my book, right? That I had written. That I was it was already written, but a few pages were missing. And I tried to explain to him because when he got off the plane, the first thing he said, Thomas, have you seen on television dirty fighting? No, he called it animal fighting. That's what it was.
Oh.
I said, oh God, he's referring to UFC.
I was gonna say he's talking about UFC, MMA.
Yeah, but this is the sad part, guys. I think UFC had already been out over 10 years, 15 years, and no one showed Sifu any footage of that. So I had to deal with that in Puerto Rico, trying to explain to Sifu, that's what's going on today. That's real fighting. If we don't do this, we're in trouble. But that's animal fighting. So I sat down in Erick's master bedroom, watching this stuff, right? I said, Sifu, let me explain to you what I want to do. What these guys are doing, the Gracies, it's called Brazilian Chin Na. I am of the opinion, Sifu, that our Chin Na can compete against this, but we have to train it correctly. He understood me. After I said it's Brazilian Chin Na versus Chinese Chin Na, he got it instantly.
Now you turn it into your Ying Jow Pai, right? Wrapping it up, the Puerto Rico branch is still going strong.
Yes.
And the two, so we still got the 3 branches out there, yeah? So Florita, Bayamon,
Guayama.
Okay, awesome. And I'm going to put all the information up here too, so people want to train and they can still reach out and do that. I'm going to ask you guys my last, because this feature is 5 crucial questions for Kung Fu Masters, as you guys know.
The fighting. People don't fight no more. Now it's all show, and I mean, you have mixed martial arts. That's the only thing that's real fighting right now, or closest to real fighting. But when you go to the traditional schools, it's like they they don't do well, they do some application, but it's not fighting.
It's missing.
That's the difference. Back in those days, we used to go to schools and challenge other people. Back I remember on 14th Street, other schools, the Hungar schools, the Prey Mantis school, we always used to get together after class ended. There was like 6 different styles there, and we used to fight.
Yeah.
We used to get down and say, all right, let's see what you got. You know what I mean? That's the difference that I see now.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Look, I think we still don't get it. I mean, look what Xu Xiaodong has done. He challenges all these masters.
Oh, the Tai Chi guys in China, yeah.
No, not only Tai Chi, I mean, every style. And these masters come up thinking they can beat Xu Xiaodong. And by the way, Xu Xiaodong is not that good.
Yeah,
okay? He's okay. He's not that good. And he beats all of them. So we still don't have the wake-up call. We're still asleep. Yes and no.
Okay, explain.
Okay, yes, because, well, I think forms are ancient CDs or VHS. That's how you kept the secrets alive in those forms. You know, now we can record all those techniques, and we don't need the forms technically. We don't. So those forms kept the secret techniques alive, but now you can record them. Remember, ancient masters couldn't write, so that's the way. That was one of the ways to keep the information alive, pass it down to the next generations. But of course, forms train us for health reasons, so on and so forth. But for fighting, no, we don't need them anymore technically.
But don't we still need the forms, let's say, for the stance work and all that, or you don't think so anymore?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that the forms, yes, they're still important in the aspect that they teach you movements. Like you said, the stance work, the hand movements, how to move your hands, how to react, especially when you have partner sets. It teaches you how to react to another partner. So yeah, in certain aspects, yes. But you have to eventually get away from that or take out of the form certain techniques and just apply them in drills and in fighting, not just do the forms.
Julio, like Sifu's 1 hour of forms, 2 hours of fighting.
Exactly.
You guys brought it up before, even the clawing, right? So the forms can actually show you how to get a proper claw. Again, you need to be tactile and put hands on people, but to get that at least for us, the clawing down correctly, right?
Right. Drunken Master 2 with Jackie Chan.
Oh yeah, that's dope.
I know Julio's gonna say that's not a kung fu movie. Crouching Dragon, Hidden. What is it? Crouching Tiger,
Hidden Dragon.
That ain't no kung fu movie. Get out of here with that nonsense.
That's a love story.
It's a wuxia film, right? It is kung fu.
No, it's not. Bunch of floating people floating around the movie. Get out of here. If we keep going the way we're going, no. Well, kung fu people.
Yeah. We keep going the way we're going, no.
They have to change.
Yeah.
They have to adapt and change. I think the best fighter is a boxer.
Yeah, agreed.
Because he's a pugilist.
Yeah.
He trains to get hit.
Right.
We don't train that.
Absolutely.
You get hit once. It's like Mike Tyson says. Everything is fine and dandy until you get that one hit.
Everybody's got a plan until they get hit in the face.
Exactly.
Yep. Absolutely.
Everything changes. I'm the best ever. What the hell? I got hit. I honestly think there are very few branches out there that are going to keep Eagle Core alive, and Puerto Rico is like the dominant one. I mean, you got California, you got Ken Edwards School that's going to keep it alive. You got Benson also in California that's trying to keep it alive as well.
You got Greece. They're doing a pretty good job. They got a lot of people.
Greece is also doing well. You got the New York branch here that they're trying, but New York is struggling right now because they don't even have a school. They're bouncing around. But
it's true.
But I think Puerto Rico, California, Greece are the ones that are going to keep it alive.
Yeah.
But Puerto Rico mainly because Puerto Rico's out there. They're going to tournaments. They're showing up.
Agree. What do you think, Sifu Thomas?
I'm going to answer the question with your own words.
Go ahead.
Do you recall what happened when Sifu came back from Puerto Rico and he would tell the New York branch all these stories? This is what you told me. And they were upset that he was praising Puerto Rico so much.
Yeah.
And then someone asked him, what's the better school, Greece or Puerto Rico? And he said, he started thinking, this is what you told me, Quasi. He started thinking, wow, he said, Puerto Rico. He said, Puerto Rico. But then he said, no. Greece first, but soon Puerto Rico. Does it ring a bell?
But basically, he was kind of saying the up-and-comers are Puerto Rico, because that's one thing you guys have always really gotten a lot more of the younger generation to really like come into the fold.
Tiny kids. Yeah.
That's always been consistent. It's like you got the younger kids, and then the middles, like the teens, that really love it and just go, they go hardcore.
There's no. If you don't have children in your class, there's no kung fu is gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, it's work in progress. So again, it's good to see things still thriving down there. So special shout out to obviously Olaguibet and Erick Cintron, keeping the torch lit, right? And passing it on to the younger generations, right? But it started with you guys, so props to you, gentlemen.
I started north, but you know that this piece is going out to Puerto Rico. 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 Puerto Rico.
Okay, big history alert, big history alert. There you have it. The full story of our Ying Jow Pai Puerto Rico branch, told right from the master's mouths. Of course, I'm talking Sifu Thomas Torres and Sifu Julio Perez. I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as I love putting this one together for you guys. It was a blast. Okay, comment down below. Yes, you do that. And of course, share this one to as many martial arts fans and even non-martial arts fans, as many as you can, all right? Let's get the word out there. Push this thing, make it a bigger deal, all right? And by the way, Sifu Thomas has a book out, as he mentioned earlier in the interview, so if you're interested in grabbing a copy, I'll put a link down in the description below with more information there. But you can also grab a copy at 2 of the Ying Jow Pai Puerto Rico branches. I'll list those numbers again here for you guys.
Cool. And I want my copy, Sibak.
Thanks to Sifu Julio and Sifu Thomas for being a part of this video.
This is Sifu Thomas Torres.
This is Sifu Julio Perez. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching Kung Fu Chronicles.
Guys, stay safe always, and of course check out a few videos you guys might like, including our new Ying Jow Pai playlist. I'm going to place that one up for you right here so you guys can check that out among other videos. See you guys in the next round. Keep punching.
I was saying to myself, I was watching all your videos. I said, when the hell is Quasi going to reach out to me? You know what? I was going to call you and say, what the is up, mother?